Welcome to NAMI Walks Your Way for Delaware. I'm Josh Thomas, Executive Director of NAMI Delaware, and I hope you and your family are doing well during these difficult times. Our walk this year is not what we originally envisioned, and we look forward to returning to our traditional walk in 2021. However, today is still an important day of raising awareness, engaging in healthy activity, and raising critical funding to continue our mission. Our mission continues. We are offering virtual education and support programming and reaching thousands. We are still providing housing at 71 properties after acquiring 5 more in February. Today, I encourage you to do something to raise awareness. Post on social media, talk to friends about mental illness, and monitor and engage in social media activity that we are providing. Do something healthy if you can. Take a walk, even if it's not a 5K. Ride your bike. Eat healthy. Meditate, do yoga, or something else that you enjoy that's healthy. Please donate and help us raise funds for our critical mission. It's more important than ever. I want to say a special thank you to our hardworking team at NAMI Delaware and to all the essential workers, healthcare professionals, first responders, and everyone who's helping us get through this difficult time. Thank you for your support, and remember, no matter what, our mission continues.
Hi, Lieutenant Governor Bethany Hall-Long. As Chair of Delaware's Behavioral Health Consortium, I am thrilled to participate every year with NAMI's Walk Day. This year, we've had to move it from May 2nd to a virtual event on Saturday, May 30th. Hope that you'll join us on this day, of which we are looking at mental health for all, a day of hope. Those of us who know NAMI, both here in our state and across our country, they share a bright message of hope and solidarity and community for those of us and our families who experience mental health or addiction, substance use matters. They are present in a crisis. They are present for families. So come and show your support. Mental Health for All, the Day of Hope on May 30th. Thank you.
In 1982, Jill and I found ourselves facing a devastating situation. Our son, Stephen, had been diagnosed with schizophrenia several years before, but now he was experiencing heightened symptoms that were consuming him and us. Stephen needed help, but we didn't know where to turn. We felt isolated and hopelessly adrift in a sea of unanswered questions.
Then we read an article in our local newspaper that totally changed our lives. It told about a group of folks in the Midwest who had started a grassroots movement of families just like ours. They called themselves AMI, Alliance for the Mentally Ill. From them, we learned that we were not alone and that we were not without hope. Inspired by our newfound knowledge, we decided to start an AMI group here in Delaware. 37 years ago, in April of 1983, we held our very first support meeting. 9 families attended that first support meeting. 2 weeks later, we held our second support meeting and 20 families attended. What Simon and I thought would just be a small support group soon grew to be a statewide support and advocacy agency that today is called NAMI Delaware.
And it has been an exciting 37 years. NAMI Delaware now has an office building in Wilmington and has a wonderful staff of policymakers, educators, and housing managers. It also owns 71 properties which provide permanent housing for over 300 Delawareans who live with severe and persistent mental illness. NAMI Delaware offers a wide variety of educational programs to families, professionals, and the general public. They open eyes to the plight of those whose lives are impacted by a no-fault brain disease. And thanks to the generosity of our donors, all these programs are offered at no cost. Trained facilitators hold regular support meetings for both families and peers in all 3 state counties. No one has to walk this road alone.
NAMI Delaware also provides an avenue for speaking out, so families can take all that pain and frustration that they've experienced and turn it into the positive power of advocacy, making the world a better place for future generations. NAMI Delaware also holds a statewide conference every year where we hear from cutting-edge researchers and high-level state policymakers. Last year, over 450 family members, peers, and professionals attended our conference. And once a year, in May, we NAMI families come together with our community supporters at the NAMI Walk to celebrate our successes and rededicate ourselves to our mission. We walk to raise awareness, but also to raise funds for improving the lives of those impacted by these no-fault brain diseases. Last year, we raised over $80,000, and this year, despite COVID, and with your help, we hope to raise even more.
Even though NAMI Delaware has accomplished much in the last 37 years, there's still a great deal more to do. As I said before, no family should walk this road alone, without hope. So we urge you to support NAMI Delaware as we live out our mission, which is to support, educate, and advocate until there is a cure for severe and persistent mental illness.
Hi, Sarah McBride here. I'm proud to join NAMI for NAMIWalks Your Way Delaware. NAMI Delaware has made a commitment to diversity and inclusion, working to serve the whole community, not just a small portion of it. Mental health does not discriminate, but we also know that because of inequalities in our society, because of added stressors that many of our neighbors are struggling with, there are disparities and differences between communities with regard to mental health. As an LGBTQ advocate, I'm all too familiar with the realities for the LGBTQ community. It's estimated that more than 37% of LGBTQ adults experience a mental illness. LGBTQ youth are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than their straight cisgender peers. Bullying, harassment, discrimination, and barriers to care are all at the heart of these disparities, not just for the LGBTQ community, but also for people of color, those living in poverty, immigrants, and anyone who faces extra hardship. NAMI Delaware is working hard to address these systemic differences through programming such as Sharing Hope, offering their helpline in Spanish, and creating community partnerships that span a wide range of demographics. This is a difficult time, but I'm hopeful because of the work of NAMI and so many advocates around Delaware and around the country who will not stop until every person is able to get the care and support that they need.
Hi, Delaware. It's Congresswoman Lisa Blount Rochester. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we know that within a year, 1/5 of adults and 1/6 of children will face some kind of mental health issue. It's really important that we come together at this time, especially as we're dealing with COVID-19. We know that we have challenges on a normal or regular basis, but during a pandemic, everything is heightened to a new level. And so I am so excited to be participating in this virtual walk. Some of you know me, know I don't really like to walk or run or exercise that much. So I'm glad this is virtual. There's a silver lining. But what I can say is it's in honor of making sure that we have mental health for all. Ultimately, this is a day of hope. And so to everybody out there, those of you who work with NAMI, those of you who volunteer, those of you who contribute, we thank you. We know that without your work and your efforts, people would not be able to get the support they need, especially right now during this pandemic. The fact that now people can even get help online, virtually, and at no cost to them is really because of efforts like today. So again, we thank you so much for all that you do. Continue to count me as an advocate. Continue to also count me as someone who knows, because I've been there. I've suffered through depression and the loss of my husband. I've been with a family member when we had to go and get her mental health counseling. There's a lot that each of us feel and goes through during this time, but what's most important is that we remember we're in it together and that everybody deserves the mental health assistance, treatment, and support so that we can make it through the tough times and to be able to live a full life. I mean, we know Remove the stigma. Remember, we're in this together. And today is a day of hope.
Hi everyone, I'm Attorney General Cathy Jennings, and I want to remind you that this month we recognize Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental Health Awareness Month is about fighting the stigma behind mental illness, providing support to those living with a mental health condition, educating people about mental health and mental illness, and advocating for policies that will help people with a mental health condition and their families. But the truth is, every day, every week, every month is Mental Health Awareness Month, because we should be doing everything we can to help those with mental health disorders. Mental illnesses are invisible to the eye. Unlike physical injuries, people stigmatize the need for asking for help. 1 in 5 Americans lives with a mental illness. In Delaware, that's about 129,000 adults, 3 times the population of Dover. However, the sad reality is that only about 2 in 5 Delawareans receive any treatment in the past year. One of those causes is due to shortage of mental health professionals in certain rural areas, as about 88,000 Delawareans lives in a mental health professional shortage area. Unfortunately, those with a mental health condition are more likely to abuse substances or medications, and worse, they are more likely to consider suicide. 1 American dies by suicide every 12 minutes. Every 12 minutes. Not only does mental illness cost American taxpayers money, $193.2 billion in lost earnings each year, to be exact, but it also affects our incarceration rates. Every year, about 2 million people with mental illness are booked into jails. 37% of adults incarcerated in state and federal prisons have a diagnosed mental illness, and 70.4% of youth in the juvenile justice system have a diagnosed mental illness. As Attorney General of Delaware, I have worked to ensure that every citizen is treated fairly by the justice system, regardless of race, religion, gender, and yes, whether they live with a mental health condition. We have a moral obligation to treat everyone with respect, integrity, and with fairness. I've always believed in the need to provide greater access to mental health and substance abuse treatment. Since more than 90% of the individuals incarcerated in Delaware will return to our communities to be our neighbors once again, we need to make it easier, especially for those living with a mental health condition, to seek the help they so richly deserve. I applaud and thank NAMI Delaware for their tireless work in supporting, advocating, and educating those living with a mental health condition, their loved ones, and members of the community. With the help of NAMI Delaware and the CIT program, our law enforcement officers and correctional officers are equipped with the tools and resources to respond to and de-escalate situations involving those living with a mental health condition. Furthermore, as COVID-19 continues to affect our communities and structure, our way of normal life, and the ability to demonstrate our affection for one another, we must continue to do everything we can to support and advocate for the least of those among us, especially the members of our society that live with a mental health condition. Because no matter what, our mission continues. And I want to end this with a personal note. There's a person in my life who has been my hero for decades, and that's my oldest stepbrother, Rick. Rick has lived throughout his adult life with mental illness. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia in his late teenage years, and he has dealt with that mental illness with strength, with courage, and with conviction. We all miss Rick. Rick passed away this past year, and It's a tremendous loss within our family, but it's also a loss because he served as an example to others about the kind of courage that it takes to deal with one's own mental illness, to live in our society, and to be loved. Be well, be safe, and stay healthy.
Hello, I am Colonel Vaughn Bond of the Newcastle County Police Department, and I'm also a longtime advisory board member for NAMI. As a police officer, I have had the opportunity to see the effects of mental health and substance abuse disorder on the families of those that we serve. As a police department, our goal is to help those individuals and those families in their quest to help their loved ones who are going through these trying times. We felt the need to partner with a great organization such as NAMI because they have the tools and the resources that we needed in order to do better outreach to those we serve. In addition, NAMI has been great in supporting us in our efforts to create our newly formed behavioral health unit. Our behavioral health unit will address those individuals and help those families who have loved ones who are suffering from both mental health as well as substance abuse. And because we care and we understand that there are so many individuals out here that are in need, we have also created our Veterans Response Team, who helps us to deal with individuals who have served in our military branches that are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and other issues. We also have several of our officers who are trained as crisis intervention team officers, as well as a CISM team to help our officers deal with those critical incidents where they're dealing with highly stressful situations. NAMI has been great over the years, and they have partnered with us in law enforcement to train over 500 officers in CIT to ensure that we are giving the best service that we can possibly provide to those individuals who are suffering from mental health crisis as well as substance abuse. So today, I want to thank NAMI for helping us, for partnering with law enforcement, and for helping us to make a difference in the lives of those we serve. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in and for turning out today to do NAMI Walks Your Way. My name's Tom Gibbs. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at Synovian Pharmaceuticals. Synovian employees around the country participate in NAMI Walks each year. Though we're not able to gather in person this year, we remain committed to supporting NAMI and the mental health community. At Synovian, we are working to elevate the standard of care for individuals with mental health conditions, including bipolar depression and schizophrenia. NAMI has done remarkable work in the community to improve the lives of those with mental health conditions and their families. And we are proud to partner with them on many different initiatives year-round, like Be Vocal, Speak Up for Mental Health. It is wonderful to see so many of you participating today, and it demonstrates the community's resilience and enduring commitment to increasing education on and awareness of these conditions to reduce stigma. I would like to applaud NAMI for making this virtual event happen and developing such creative and engaging programming for the whole family. Thank you for all your continued support of NAMI's important work. We are here with you and walking side by side in your efforts to fight stigma and advocate for the community.
No matter what, our mission continues.
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 No matter what,
our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.
No matter what, our mission continues.